so quiet, yet so explosive, it shook an entire fandom overnight. What if the man everyone thought was distant was actually watching, supporting, and silently choosing him? Did Wang Yibo really vote for Xiao Zhan in Most Handsome Man Alive 2026? Or is this just a story fans want to believe? It started like all rumors do, small, almost invisible. A single post, no verification, no evidence, just a sentence that felt strangely powerful. Some votes don't need to be seen to matter. At first, no one paid attention. Why would they? The Most Handsome Man Alive 2026 was already dominating headlines. Xiao Zhan's name was shining, again, at the top. Fans were celebrating. Edits were flooding timelines. Every angle of his visuals, every soft smile, every elegant movement, replayed, reposted, remembered. It felt like a victory everyone expected, yet still couldn't get enough of. But then something shifted. That quiet post began to spread. Someone added a name, Wang Yibo, and suddenly everything changed. Because this wasn't just any name. This was a name tied to history, to emotion, to something deeper than headlines. A name that, when placed beside Xiao Zhan, never feels neutral. The rumor grew, not loudly, but intensely. Whispers turned into threads. Threads turned into debates. Could it be possible? Could Wang Yibo, someone known for his silence, his distance from public speculation, have quietly supported Xiao Zhan? No confirmation, no denial, just a question. And sometimes, a question is more powerful than the truth. What makes this rumor so compelling isn't just the claim, it's the history behind it. Because for many fans, Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan are not just two global stars. They're a story filled with moments that were never fully explained, smiles that lingered just a second too long, silences that felt louder than words. And over the years, that story has transformed. From public connection to careful distance, from visible interactions to almost complete silence, which is why this rumor feels different, because it suggests something unexpected, not conflict, not rivalry, but something quieter, something hidden, support. Imagine this. While the world watches numbers rise, while fans fight, vote, celebrate, somewhere unseen, a single click, a choice made without announcement, without recognition. If it were true, it wouldn't just change the narrative. It would rewrite it entirely. But here's the thing. There's no proof, no leaked account, no verified source, no concrete trace. And yet, people can't stop talking about it. Because emotionally, it makes sense. And sometimes in fandom culture, what feels real can be just as powerful as what is real. As the rumor spread, it didn't explode. It echoed, soft at first, then deeper, then impossible to ignore. The fandom didn't divide into right or wrong. It divided into feeling and logic. On one side, voices of reason rose quickly. There's no proof. This is just fan fiction. Stop connecting things that aren't there. They weren't wrong. In fact, they were grounded, careful, protective of reality. Because in a world where narratives can spiral out of control, truth matters. But on the other side, there was silence. Not loud arguments, not aggressive denial, just quiet reflection. Because for some fans, this rumor didn't feel like fiction. It felt like a continuation, a thread that was never truly cut. And that's when something interesting happened. People didn't just discuss the rumor. They revisited the past. Old clips resurfaced, moments frozen in time, suddenly breathing again. A glance during an interview, a pause before answering a question, a smile that didn't fully disappear. Details that once felt small, now felt significant. And the more they watched, the more the line between memory and meaning began to blur. Because sometimes, what we remember isn't just what happened. It's what we felt when it happened. And those feelings, they don't disappear. They wait, quietly, until something like this rumor brings them back to life. Soon, timelines were no longer about rankings or visuals. They became emotional archives. Fans weren't just asking, did he vote? They were asking something deeper. Is it possible he still cares, even in silence? And that question, it didn't need proof to exist. It only needed belief. Because belief is where fandom becomes something more than just admiration. It becomes attachment. And attachment is where rumors like this find their power. Here's where the story becomes even more complex. Because the truth might not be something we're meant to uncover. Wang Yibo has always been a master of restraint. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't clarify every narrative. He doesn't move according to public expectations. His silence isn't emptiness. It's intentional. In Xiao Zhan, he has walked through storms that most people can't even imagine. He understands what it means to be watched, to be analyzed, to have every action turned into interpretation. So if something like this, something as subtle as a single vote, did exist, would it ever be revealed? Or would it remain exactly where it belongs, hidden in the quiet spaces between public and private life? Because not everything meaningful is meant to be seen. Some gestures are only powerful because they are invisible. And that's what gives this rumor its almost poetic weight. It suggests a version of reality where recognition doesn't need applause, support doesn't need validation, and connection doesn't need to be displayed to be real. Imagine that for a moment. A world where the loudest stories are not the ones shouted across headlines, but the ones that exist quietly beneath them. That's what this rumor represents. Not scandal, not rivalry, but something far more delicate. A possibility of silent acknowledgement. And maybe that's why people hesitate to dismiss it completely. Because even if it isn't true, it represents something they want to believe is true. That even in distance, there can still be respect. That even in silence, there can still be connection. And in an industry built on visibility, that kind of invisible bond feels almost rare, almost precious. So where does that leave us now? With no confirmation, no denial, just a story floating between reality and imagination. Xiao Zhan remains at the top. His presence undeniable. His impact unquestionable. A name that continues to rise no matter the noise around it. And Wang Yibo, still exactly who he has always been. Composed, unreadable, unpredictable in the most quiet way. The rumor hasn't changed who they are, but it has changed how people feel. Because suddenly, this wasn't just about a title anymore. It wasn't just about Most Handsome Man Alive 2026. It became something softer, something more human. A story about possibility. About the idea that behind every public image, there are layers we may never fully understand. Fans continue to talk, some with certainty, some with doubt, some with quiet hope they won't even admit out loud. And maybe that's the most honest part of all this. Not the rumor itself, but the reaction to it. Because it revealed something deeper than curiosity. It revealed longing. A longing for stories that don't end abruptly. For connections that don't simply disappear. For meaning that extends beyond what we can see. And maybe that's why this moment lingers longer than expected. Because it touches something emotional, something timeless. So in the end, we're left with a choice. Not about what is true, but about what we choose to believe. Do we see this as just another passing rumor? Or do we see it as a reminder that sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones that are never confirmed? And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.